Hey guys, so today we're going to be reviewing the Regulation G metagame. Restricted back, I've been back for a while, but I haven't covered them just yet, so I want to talk about the metagame overall and some of the latest tournaments and results. So Victory Road just hosted a big December challenge here. This is their second one, and Sam Pendelis won with Terapagos. And so other things to mention is that Groudon is back. There is one in first seed here and one in seventh, which is kind of crazy. And that's not even to mention the fact that there's more Groudon than Calyrex Ice, which is like nuts. Calyrex Ice is one of the best restricteds, that many have said before, but apparently not anymore. It has fumbled this one, and there was also a Victory Road challenge last week, and they were 0 in cut, as you can see here. And the usage stats are actually pretty disappointing. Look at it. The day 1 usage was 26%, and day 2 were 9%. Only 3 in day 2, which is like insane. And I kind of want to talk about like why is this happening. The video's gonna be mostly focused on Calyrex Ice, but we're gonna talk about some other teams as well. So starting off with like why Calyrex Ice is not performing. So here I have all the teams that Calyrex Ice does not really like to face, and I'll get into the details of most of these teams as well. Starting off with Zamazenta. This one's like a classic, right? Zamazenta should be beating most Calyrex Ice teams just because of the wide guard plus body press combo and ways to pressure Calyrex Ice with throat chop, and then you have Urshifu to wall it out, right? And stuff like Entei's good at burning it. Like these four in general, pretty strong versus Calyrex Ice. With Terapagos winning the last December challenge, and it also won the first one here as well, which was set. What naturally beats Terapagos? Zamazenta. And if Zamazenta is trending because Terapagos is trending, that means Calyrex Ice stonks go down. This doesn't mean Calyrex Ice is a bad Pokemon. I'm just kind of talking about like why I think the reasons why it's not performing well, and it just has to do with like the meta trends, like I said, and how the Regulation G meta works. It's sort of a wheel, like restricted A, restricted B, and we've kind of been cycling throughout the last year of playing it. Like we had this format earlier this year, right? And like we started from Miraidon winning, did a full circle of the winning worlds, Calyrex-Shadow not working, and then working towards the end of worlds, and now. So kind of going back and forth, and right now the meta is very hostile to Calyrex Ice. It's not just the Zamazenta builds. I mean, going over the last Zamazenta build too, right? This one's very similar to the last one, but Choice Specs Chi again, really impressive for Calyrex Ice builds. Next one I want to talk about is Terapagos. I think Terapagos is honestly favored versus most Calyrex Ice. This is because of your natural partners that you pair with it. Like, Calyrex Ice doesn't like certain restricteds, but also doesn't like certain non-restricted Pokemon, like Incineroar. Incineroar has Fake Out to stop you in Trick Room, Knock Off to knock off your Clear Amulet, and Will-O-Wisp is the main one. Wisp is really annoying for Calyrex Ice, especially since a lot of them are not Terrafire anymore. And even if you go Terrafire, you just get pinned by the Urshifu here, which you also can't hit. Glacial Lance is resisted, High Horsepower is not doing nearly as much damage back, and then even if you also don't, let's say you're Terrafiring, right, for the Wisp, or you're Terra Watering for the Urshifu, Terapagos pins you. The Terra Star Storm when you sell a Terra, super effective back to other Terra Pokemon, which is pretty crazy. And the partners here are just really impressive. And Terapagos also has the Terra Shell ability, and Glacial Lance is not doing nearly as much back with the Terra Shell, and you counter Wisp, Knock Off, and all of a sudden Terapagos is almost unkillable. So this team winning is no surprise, but it's also just so strong right now, especially for against Calyrex Ice. I think the crazy part of this team too is that it's been dominating. This team made finals, won finals, and also made top 4. And I think it also did pretty well in the last December challenge too, with the Chen Pao variant. This was created by a Japanese player. They go by Spyana. And they won the last Japan Nats, and this team was created by them. They had the original Chen Pao variant, but Heartflame has been a new adjustment. I think Heartflame's better because it's a better IC1 abuser, and it gives you follow me support for setup. If you want to use one of the strongest teams right now, this is it. We talked about the Chen Pao variants as well. The other variant for Terapagos is the Specs 1. I think the Specs 1 is also pretty impressive for Calyrex Ice just because Terra Star Storm does so much damage. If you're a Calyrex Ice team and you don't have Wide Guard, this is just doing a lot of damage back. And you also have the Foul Play Farigiraf, the Helping Hand to boost the Terra Starstorm, again, the Urshifu, and Encore Winds is also annoying. If you don't have Follow Me, you can't safely Trick Room because they can just reverse it. And you also have the Hard Film here to KO like your grass types, normal Paracalyx like Among Us and such. So this seems a little bit more oppressive. I don't think it's nearly as strong as the Calm Mind one. I don't think this one actually did as amazing, even though it won the first one. Just because I think the Calm one gives you more tools with Fake Out plus Urshifu and such. Next thing I want to talk about is Kyogre. This is probably the most successful Kyogre team right now. This was piloted by Alex Soto for this Victory Road challenge, but it was originated by Oliver Escalin, who top 16 worlds with the same 6. And I think this is another pretty good team right now in the metagame, just because Roy Moon is kind of cool versus most Shadow teams, and Kyogre matches up really well, again, versus Ice. Ice cannot touch Kyogre. They walk Glacial, they Calm Mind in front of you, do a lot of damage back. Again, Instant with Will-O-Wisp, with that Urshifu combo. Fake Out Surging Strikes, Wisp, Surging Strikes, knock off the Clear Element, pretty annoying. And if they do set up Trick Room, they can Spore you with Among Us. So this team is really impressive for Ice, and I don't see many ways they can actually really break it. You might need something like a Cornerstone and such, but then they can kind of pin you with the Urshifu Rapid Strike and Rain, KOs your Cornerstone, for example. So yeah. Next build we'll talk about is Shadow. This is the Market Fair 06 that he used the top 16 worlds, and it dominated the first challenge that Victory Road hosted here. Like you see here, there is, oh my god, there is 5 of the same team in this cut, and just other variants of Clefairy and stuff, which is pretty crazy. Again, CSR is trending right now. Even though it's weak to Pagos, I think it has a pretty balanced matchup spread. It's good versus most Miraidon comps, pretty good versus Zamazenta and more. And this team here, again, has all the annoying tools for Ice Rider. You have the Instant Ursh, which we talked about. It's really bad, but now you have a Shadow Rider. Shadow Rider here with Astro Barrage, super effective. After a +2, can KO most of your teammates. And you really need something like an extra normal type or Wide Guard to have a fighting chance. But I think that good Shadow Rider teams can play around it. Especially like some counterplay you have, like Terra Normal Ice was one thing that kind of popped off to beat Shadow Rider. But that doesn't beat Shadow Rider because Urshifu, well played Ursh, like again, Stellar Terra Close Combat kills Terra Normal Ice Rider. So every counterplay you think you have to it doesn't work. And I feel like even like when I was playing against this team, when I had a Terra Normal Ice Rider, I felt like I just had to play better than them. Or like, that's not the case for this regulation in general, but I had to play like way better than them. Because I'm always moving last and they're moving first because I need Trick Room to have the speed in my favor. Shadow's too fast. You're not outpacing Urshifu, plus Fake Out, right? It's just super annoying. Similarly, right, same team basically with Among Us. Among Us does something similar. Like, they're mostly bringing Instant Ursh Cali versus you anyways. They probably bring Among Us in the back so they can Spore you in Trick Room if needed. And again, like, Ice, if you're sending a Trick Room for Among Us, you really need to be either Terra Grass or you have a way to deny Spore with, like, Follow Me. Next one I'll talk about is Dondozo. Dondozo Shadow, top cut worlds, and it's been kind of a Terra and ladder. It's kind of been a joke in the community right now. Like, people have been hating it on it, and for good reason. I think this team is really toxic. No pun intended with spikes. But Dondozo, walls Ice. It is super hard to break, especially after they get like multiple order ups. They haven't hit the +2 from Commander, but then after one order up, they get another +1, and then +1 defense. Body press is doing a lot back, and then with the poison, Ice just cannot win. Your only way of really being in this matchup with Ice if you have Clear Smog Among Us. Without it, I think it's almost unplayable. And this also forces you to run Among Us. I also don't think Among Us is like the best in the metagame right now. Like, it's still a broken Pokemon, of course, but it limits your builds, especially if you want to run something like Ice, like Orcapon Cornerstone, which I think is one of the better ones right now. And yeah, your options are pretty limited versus this, unless you have like Clear Smog Among Us with like Wide Guard and like maybe like Terra Normal Ice 2 for extra measure would like beat this pretty well. But if you don't, most Ice would just fold to this. Same as Zamazenta builds. I saw Michael Kelch run Zamazenta Among Us for this reason, because it actually gives you a Dozo matchup. Next one's, I'll go over this briefly. It's mostly kind of just Shadow variants. This one doesn't have Incin, but the annoying part is mostly just the Man-Shadow with Wyguard. So Shadow teams with ways to deny your your Ice Rider from clicking damage is pretty annoying. So Wyguard here plus Taunt Chi-Yu allows you to stop Trick Room and prevent you from dealing damage back to it. Stuff like Sing Clef can also be annoying because if you set up Trick Room, they can Sing you. It is a 30% chance to, well, actually 55% chance to land, but it's not nearly as consistent, but if it does, it can be game losing. There's also stuff like this. This is pretty similar. You have the Cornerstone, the Pressure Calyrex, you have the Taunt Ursh. This one I don't think is nearly as bad if you have a way to kind of just get Trick 'em up, because if you have Follow Me plus Trick 'em, I think that you could Snowball versus this build. So it's not nearly as bad, but if you're not careful, I think Hyper Offense can overwhelm you, especially if they lead something like Chi-Yu plus Calyrex, and let's say you're not Terra Normal, they can just Heat Wave Astral Barrage and probably KO you. The last version of Shadow that can be annoying for Ice Rider builds is, again, things with Wyguard, Spore, Fake Out, and Clefairy are after you. This seems pretty cool because you can deny the Trick Room with Spore, and if they do get Trick 'em up, you can just after you your Calyrex and see your +2, you can Astral Barrage KO their whole team. So pretty cool stuff. And lastly, we're going to talk about Miraidon. Miraidon has been fluctuating usage. I don't think it's really been dominating after Since Worlds, but it's had a few top cuts and it's been kind of on ladder a bit. The first one I'd like to talk about is Luca's team, and it's only standard Miraidon stuff, and I think Miraidon is slightly favored into Calyrex just because you were moving first and you have a lot of ways to kind of just get one-shots with the Miraidon, prevent Spore if you have Amoonguss. Electric Sea Photograph is really good at walling out Calyrex with foul play. And then you have stuff like Low Kick Hands, which can just deal big damage to Calyrex under Trick Room. And one thing to note is that these teams run min-speed hands, so they can underspeed Calyrex and just low kick it. So again, a lot of ways to kind of deny it. That's kind of really it about some of the teams that have done well in Victory Road and why they're doing so well versus Calyrex. And one thing I want to note is that I don't think Calyrex is bad. I've been trying to make it work myself, and I've had some decent success. But a lot of these teams here have done well don't make me want to use it, really. And yeah, I think that the Calyrex builds need a lot more innovation to kind of fit in the metagame right now, because it's just too hard to deal with like Fake Out Ursh with stuff. It's super annoying for Calyrex. You got to play like twice as hard. And one didn't know, like, maybe one reason why it hasn't been succeeding as well, like looking at the stats from Victory Road 1, like you have only 3 in day 2 usage, but a lot of these players using Calyrex might not be like the most well-known or best Calyrex users, like people like Paul Chua, Justin Burns, etc., right? Some of the most like pronounced Calyrex users not in this tournament, but they were maybe seeing some different stats. But then again, Yuta, who made finals at Worlds, I don't think he day 2 this one. I think he went like 1-3, which is pretty crazy because he just top cut Worlds and was in finals. And again, like looking at all these teams here, like Calyrex has had so many good results at regionals, at Nats, and at Worlds, but it just hasn't been converting recently. And again, these are online tournaments, so it's not like life or death for Calyrex, but I think that the metagame is just super hostile to it right now. But besides that, with Calyrex being down, I think this explains why Pokemon like Groudon are high in usage right now, or higher usage than it in these tournaments, because Groudon doesn't like Calyrex, and with Calyrex down, Groudon can be back up, especially like Calyrex Pelipper will like beat a team like this, right? And I think Groudon's cool because it's sort of like a pseudo Miraidon answer, and it's also pretty good versus most Shadow builds, stuff like Chi-Yu, Boosting Sun. Groudon's pretty good versus the Incin, Rilla, Bolt cores, and they don't want to bring Urshifu versus his team, right? So a pretty cool anti-meta pick right now, and it's kind of I'm not surprised that it's kind of in top cut here. I'm kind of surprised there's 2, but it's still interesting to see. Like Joe's version here is also pretty good versus most teams. He lost to Ko, who's running Terapagos, because he missed a lot of Pressers, Blades, and Sleep Powders. So that's like one reason to be careful using Groudon, and it's probably why it's not nearly as high usage as other ones, because it's not as consistent, but it's a pretty cool anti-meta pick right now. One thing to note too is Koraidon. I think why these Sun teams are doing so well is, again, Calyrex being down, and I think Koraidon's a really cool pick because it is good versus Terapagos, it's good versus Calyrex-Shadow. Well, it's weak to Calyrex-Shadow, but you can KO Flare Blitz and get good damage from Flame Charge you while their teammates, like Calyrex-Shadow teammates, are Incin, Rilla, Ursh, and you beat them all with Koraidon and its partners, right? Koraidon Shiyu is pretty good. Like, Shiyu beats Calyrex-Shadow too as well, right? And you have, like, Ditto. If they're not Terra Normal, Calyrex can copy that, and you can, like, copy them and Astral Barrage them, right? This team had 2 cuts, top 4 and top 8 this tournament, and also almost top cut Worlds. Koraidon's definitely a sleeper pick, and I think Sun is one thing to look out for with Calyrex, who's just being so low now. But yeah, I mean, I think that's really it about the metagame. That kind of explains like why everything is in place, in my opinion. If I had to rank the current restricteds, I probably would go like Calyrex-Shadow is probably first for me, and then I think it's still Miraidon second, and maybe Terapagos third. Terapagos has been the most consistent, but I don't think it's like an S tier Pokemon, but it just has so many good results right now, and I think the builds for it are like almost perfect, so that's why it's like succeeding so well. And Calyrex is probably a good fourth. I still think it's like S tier. It's still a broken Pokemon, but until I see innovation and I see the results for it, I am slowly losing hope. But if anyone has a good Calyrex team, feel free to DM me. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today's video. Hopefully you guys like these like in-depth discussions and breakdowns. I really appreciate the feedback and the love I got from my VOD review versus Wolf. And I feel like this is kind of similar in some ways, kind of just going over the meta. Obviously, there's no like gameplay or whatever, but hopefully, just kind of give you ideas on how to build for G and what to use for the future. That's really it. So yeah, guys, that's gonna be for today, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.